So over this past week, this has mainly been dedicated to video games. We had the big reveals for the video games over on the Warhammer TV. There was some games that caught my eye, of course. Dark Tide is up there. The new Chaos Gate, yes, it is a turn-based game, have people been saying, but I haven't seen any gameplay for it yet, so I'm not going to judge it. One of the arguments that we've always had when it comes to turn-based games is that since Warhammer is a turn-based game itself, like on the tabletop, you normally find that most games are based on the turn-based system. That is okay, but what we've had at the moment is that most of the games that have been Warhammer have been turn-based, and the market, I personally think, has been oversaturated, and people are getting sick of the turn-based genre. Not to say that turn-based games are bad, but the turn-based genre that we're getting in Warhammer is just too much. That's why people want to see more FPS games, more real-time strategy games, other games rather than turn-based. Now, in this video, I want to talk about what games I would like to see, and really, from the feedback I've got from the community, what the community would like to see. So let's jump in and let's get talking. So I want to start with probably my favourite 40k game, and probably one of the best known 40k games, which is Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine. Now, for those of you who have been a long time sub on my channel, we actually tried to get a company to reinvest into Space Marine. I think it was Relic Nordic, if I remember correctly. We actually did a big campaign to try and take them to make notice, like, this is what we want, make Space Marine 2. Sadly, they actually got back to me. I did a video on this where they said they actually don't own the rights to the game anymore. See, what happened with Space Marine is that when Space Marine came out, they released some DLC, like the Dreadnought DLC, skins and stuff. It was fantastic. We were all having the time of our lives, but they also invested in another product, and that other product failed, and they invested a lot of money into that product, so the business went bankrupt. And when it went bankrupt, that means the game couldn't have no more content, because the developers who were working on it basically lost their jobs. What happened is that assets of the company got sold off. Sega came in and they basically purchased the distribution rights, not the rights to the game, just the distribution rights. What that means is when that game is sold on Steam, or someone comes along and buys like the DLC of the Dreadnought, or like a, an Alpha Legion skin or something like that, they just get the money for it. They cannot make official content for that game because they don't have the license for it. Now, I personally think if they were to make a Space Marine sequel, now I'm not saying that the Space Marine sequel has to follow Titus. Technically, we already knew the Titus storyline because the developers, once they knew that the game wasn't going to go forward, they did an interview stating that Titus was going to go renegade to prove his innocence, and he was eventually going to found his own chapter. That's what they had planned with him. But maybe like a sequel set with another chapter, or as I've been saying now for the past couple of months, probably the past year now, maybe a sequel that is actually set within the Death Watch itself, because when you have the Death Watch, then you have the possibility of creating any character you want, because of course we know any chapter can serve within the Death Watch, and they can go to any battleground as well. It could be against Orcs, it could be against Necrons, Dark Eldar, anything you want, Tau. You can have all those different type of settings and all those different types of stories. I really do wish that game companies would look at what we want at the moment. Maybe it's hard from Games Workshop themselves to get the license. Maybe companies just don't want to invest that time and that money into it. But what I have to say on that subject, that if someone did come along and make a kind of sequel to Space Marine, just call it Space Marine 2, or maybe Primaris Marine, as I've been saying, I know a lot of people get mad at that, I think that it would absolutely sell like hotcakes. I think it would be one of the best selling 40k games, of course, if they done it right. Put the same amount of effort into the storyline, the voice actors, the environments, the weapons, just the feel and the look of it. If they put all that in there like they did with the original Space Marine, I think it would be a huge success for them. Now, another big talking point is RTS games within the 40k genre. I would say that the biggest 40k game ever is Dawn of War. The amount of people I knew that got into Warhammer through the Dawn of War series is massive. Like, literally everyone I've spoke to has played the Dawn of War game. Gabriel Angelos, the Blood Ravens, there's so many fans from that game. And what we've had now over the past couple of years is an attempt to try and bring that game to us in Dawn of War 3, which failed heavily in my opinion. I've never really had a problem with the look of Dawn of War 3. Yes, there has been a few things like, the backflipping Gabriel Angelos, that's more terms in gameplay, but visually I thought it was a nice looking game, like the weapons, the knights in it and everything like that. But that game for me was not a Dawn of War game. It didn't feel like a Dawn of War game. I personally felt like the single player was so mismanaged, like you had to play as Eldar, then Orcs and Space Marines, where in the previous ones you actually pick the campaigns and play as those races. It's not like a back and forth. I've never really got invested into my force or the story because I was constantly being bounced around. Now sadly, I don't think we will ever get another Dawn of War game. I would love to be proved wrong, but that doesn't mean we won't ever get another RTS game, and I think companies are really missing out on the RTS element when it comes to Warhammer 40,000. Now we've had a lot of strategy games going forward from Dawn of War. Like, we've got some new games coming out now, like Battle Sector. We've just had that new Grey Knight game. The Chaos Gate game just announced. They are all turn-based games. And as I said at the start of the video, a lot of people are getting really tired of turn-based games. That's not to say that the games are bad. I think Battle Sector looks fantastic. I think the skins, the environments, the sounds, the weapons when they go off, they all look amazing. But what people are getting tired of is just that turn-based system. They want that free-flowing action. They want that real-time strategy where things are moving right in front of them and you have to be adaptive and move fast to counter your enemy. We've got so many different types of genres when it comes to real-time strategy games that could work with Warhammer 40,000. One of the recent ones we've actually had is Battlefleet Gothic. I have always said Battlefleet Gothic is an amazing game. If you get that game, the story is fantastic, the combat is fantastic. One of the only problems about that game is that the developers put it out there, then they haven't really added anything else to it. But if you get in the game, always try and get it like on the cheap during the sale. At the moment, it's the Skull of Thrones sale or something like that, and it's going for really, really cheap. I'd go and just buy it just for the single player because it is a really, really fun game. It's just really sad that we have this massive world of 40k and we have all these big units, the tanks, these epic warriors, and we don't see companies investing into an RTS game. So my word out there, if any developers watching this or anyone who knows any developers, is to give them a little bump and say, hey look, 40k is dying for more RTS games. People want that real-time strategy to unleash their armies in real time, to purge, to send Space Marine, Guards, Orcs, Tau, Tyranids, Eldar, the weapons and the units these factions have. We are really missing out on some epic battles. Now, I'm just going to end the video on a product that I would want more than anything else in the world. So please just lend me your ears for a second. Now, I am a very, very big social gamer. I enjoy playing games with other people. I enjoy the experience of sharing my experience with others because I think it's more epic, having all your friends there when you purge bosses and stuff like that. So that's why I've always been a huge MMO person, because it has those type of environments where you have guilds and you have big groups of people where you can go in, you can kill bosses and you can purge. Now, we were actually going to get a MMO set in Warhammer 40,000. It was called Dark Millennium Online. Again, with the failure of the company that was attached to Space Marine, that company went under, it went bankrupt, and we actually never got that game. I remember at the time I said, it looks a little bit wowish, I'm not too sure, maybe a little bit too cartoonish, but now I would literally give my left golden testicle to get my hands on that game and play it with some friends. Now, I know the argument is probably going to be in the comment section that the days of the MMO is a fading genre, and I won't argue with that. I do think it is. Like, back in my day, when I used to play games, MMOs were like the thing. Everyone was putting out MMOs, because World of Warcraft was so successful, but I've always felt bad that Warhammer 40,000 never got the chance of showing off the universe in that MMO setting. Yes, we had Age of Reckoning, which was the Warhammer Fantasy one, which again is fantastic. You can go and still play that on a private server. I have been doing, but for me, my love is in 40k. So I'm wondering if we would ever get a type of game that is set like that. Maybe an RPG. Even that would tempt me to jump back in. Well, so not jump back in, but actually tempt me to, lose my mind to get something like that. Maybe like a co-op game that is set in like a huge world where you and a few friends can jump in and you can explore, do missions, find relics, craft, all that awesome stuff that you expect in these, MMO type of games. That is something that I would absolutely bloody love. Will we ever get it? I don't think so, but you know, a Space Marine can dream. Anyway, Chaperonios, thank you for coming. Thank you for watching. As always, it's been fun. I'm sure it's been emotional as well. I would love to get your thoughts on feedback on some of the stuff I've said. Do you agree with like a potential sequel for Space Marine? You know, it doesn't have to follow Titus, as I stated. What about an RTS game? Do you think we need more RTS games? What about your old type of game that you would like to bring to 40k? Is there anything, like any ideas that you can put out there that you think that 40k needs to show off in an actual video game? Post it down below and we can have a nice little talk down there as we always do. See you now, have a great day, and bye bye.